Hello everyone, this is SageEthereal, and welcome to another episode of FTB Infinity Evolved Expert Mode. This is going to be episode 16, and I want to thank you all for stopping by to hang out with me again. Always great to have you here. And in this episode, we are going to be getting started with a little bit of bees. Now, I know I hear a bunch of you screaming in the background, but we don't like to watch bees. Bees are boring. And I can relate to that a bit, but I've never really done it, and, it's something I've got to experience at least once, right? So, in this episode, we're going to be doing a bit with bees, but this is going to be the only main episode where we do anything significant with them. In the future, anything I do with bees is going to be in a side episode. So you guys don't have to worry about that. So if you can, just bear with me for this one. And I don't really have a super strong plan of what exactly I want to do here because, like I said, I'm not super experienced with bees. I have messed around with them a little. But I think what I'm going to want to do is get some of these apiaries that we managed to loot from the various forestry villagers and see what we have here in terms of bees. So a forest queen would be nice. A meadows queen would probably work. Do have a common queen. Might as well take. Found that somewhere, I'm sure. I have a Valiant Queen, but I don't think I'm going to use it because I kind of want to build up from the bottom, from the ground up, basically. I do have an unusual Princess, which I guess we could take with a drone. These are already queens, so they don't need to be bred. They will produce offspring and everything immediately. The princesses need to be combined with a drone to get a queen, so something to keep in mind. Now, bees, as far as I understand it, will only work in certain biomes. They have their preferences, and if you try to place them in an area they don't enjoy, they will basically just tell you to take a hike, and they won't do anything. But I think all the bees we grabbed are going to work in this sort of biome. So I'm thinking I'm going to have them over here, at least for now, and as we're running by here, I'm going to pick up this beehive. Might as well. What did we get? A mystical princess. Not bad. So for the moment, we are going to be putting the bees in our little front courtyard area. And to that end, we're also going to need some flowers. Bees don't like to work if they don't have their flowers around. So to start with, something like that. Again, temporary, but it should work. Now if I drop a common queen in here, we've got particle effects. It's running, I think. We'll put that down just to be safe, and we don't seem to have any errors. So over here you can see these red tabs. They will show up if there's some sort of error that's preventing the object from running. This one, obviously the error is there's no queen in it. So if we drop a forest queen in there, it should run. A meadows queen should run. I'm assuming an unusual queen will work. So we're breeding up a princess and a drone here. And we have a queen. And we'll just leave it at that for now. Still no errors showing up, so these things should be running and should start producing us some various honeys and some more drones and queens, or princesses that we can turn into queens. So another thing to keep in mind is that you have pristine stock and you also have ignoble stock. Now pristine stock are the ideal candidates, they are pristine, and they will basically their bloodline will live forever, if you want to think of it that way. the ignoble stock, they have a chance of just dying out. And one time, you won't get a princess back. So, with a pristine stock, you're always guaranteed to get one princess back. Which means that the bloodline can continue. But with ignoble bees, there's a small chance that one time, when the princess dies off, when the queen dies off, that is, you won't get another princess. So with those running, we're actually going to want to chunk load the chunk that they are in. We're going to need to get some other tools and things to help us along our path of bee breeding and making use of the various materials they provide. So, the slightly long trek back over to the storehouse, but I think I'm going to have to add another shortcut here somewhere. At the moment, I find myself running through this area a lot, so I might just put in a little path. But the first thing that we are going to need to help us out here is going to be a beealizer. This is a forestry item. It is made in the carpenter. It takes 2 buckets of water, 4 tin, 2 glass panes, a diamond, and some redstone. So if my memory serves, let's see if I can get some of this stuff. I've already forgotten, so let's double check. I think the only thing I'm missing is the glass panes, and I think I have some here. Cool. We're also going to need to get another bucket of water for a total of 2. Getting dark again already. We're going to have to do something about lighting and mob spawns here before too long, but we'll get to that eventually. And, as you can see, I was running my carpenter to make wooden ties from railcraft. I've got a little over a stack. Well, actually I got about 2 stacks since this not super efficient in that it's connecting to both the thermionic fabricator and the chest, so it was splitting between those. So exactly 2 stacks of wooden ties. There is 10 buckets of creosote oil in here. So breaking it is kind of a waste, and there was also going to be some in that transfer node, but with our upgraded capacity of producing creosote oil in our immersive engineering factory that we looked at in the last episode, I think we will be okay. Now, what was I doing? I kind of lost my train of thought here. So we're just going to break this and place it down again. It is cleared out. Place all of the ingredients in. And finally, the 2 buckets of water. And we are getting our beealizer. Another thing we're going to need to process the honeycomb that the bees produce is a centrifuge. Going to take a quick nap here. And the centrifuge is pretty basic. Now the sturdy casing might be a bit of a hassle. And it doesn't look like I have an extra one. So that's slightly annoying, but we can deal with it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to make 16 bronze in the smeltery. I think it's 3-to-1. I guess I should double check. So what can I make with the molten copper? At a rate of 3-to-1, I can make bronze. So we're gonna need more of this down the road anyway, so we'll make some. Yeah, that should be good. I'm actually gonna grab a little bit more just to test. I think I already, whoa, hello there, creeper. And goodbye. The sword's pretty nice. It does kill in 2 hits, so not perfect. Obviously, it'd be a lot better if it killed in 1 hit, but it does do a lot more damage than my last one. That is on, so it's not going to automatically output. But what I was going to say is I'm going to want to try, and I'm pretty sure I already checked, but I think you can make bronze in the induction smelter. Maybe not. Oh, I guess not. We may stop by and try it just for science. But we're gonna need 4 bronze gears. So this stuff will melt down. Now the centrifuge, and forgive me if you can hear the air conditioner in the background, just kicked on again. But the centrifuge is used to extract the honey and the various other materials from the honeycomb. The honeycomb being the material that is actually produced by the bees. And 16 bronze. This is going to be a bit of a gamble, since I wanted to go and test to see if this could be made in the induction smelter, and it can. Okay, never mind. Not a gamble at all. I was going to say it's going to be a gamble if I only make the necessary gears here and find out I can't make bronze in the induction smelter. Then it's going to be a wasted trip, and I'm going to have to come back here and smelt down some more, and it's going to be a whole deal. But that's not the case. And in the not too distant future, I think we're going to want to get a different method of making gears. The only other method available in expert mode is the metal press from Immersive Engineering. Goodbye, skeleton. I hear another one. So if we hop down here real quick, come over to our induction smelter. This was how I was making the end stone, by the way, for the magnet, which I mentioned, I think, in the last episode. But you can make end stone by combining sandstone with resonant ender in a fluid transposer, with resonant ender just being ender pearls melted down in the magma crucible. Another thing I can show you while we're here is an important resource that is pretty much impossible to get otherwise, is shiny ore, or shiny ingots. Now, in some packs, you will be able to get actual shiny ore. And it looks like you can still get it from nether platinum ore, but it does not generate in the overworld naturally in this pack. So getting shiny ingots, which are used for, importantly, they are used for, if I can find it, I'm not sure what the actual, here it is, Enderium. So that takes a pulverized shiny metal, which is just 1 ingot's worth of shiny, some resonant ender, some silver, and some tin. And this Enderium dust can be made into Enderium ingots, which is used in pretty much every high tier object in expert mode, at least. It's used to make the resonant machine frames, I believe is what they're called. Don't see the recipe right off, but anyway, I'm getting off track. I'm sorry about that. What I wanted to show you is the best way of getting it, at least early game. And that is by taking ferrous ore, do have that bronze ready, and smelting it in the induction smelter with cinnabar. This will get you 2 ferrous and a 100% chance of a shiny ingot. Actually, it gets you 3 ferrous. So if you're wondering where my shiny is coming from in the future when you start seeing me make Enderium type objects, that would be where. And I just realized that I believe we are going to need some glass to make a centrifuge. Sorry if this is a little scatterbrained today. I didn't really plan it out, so been a busy week. Just say that. Work has been pretty hectic. So something like this gets us a sturdy casing. We are going to need to smelt that into glass. That's the word I'm looking for. Shouldn't have had so much trouble finding it, but okay. Quickly melt this down. Shouldn't take too long, then we should have everything we need to make our centrifuge. And while that's doing that real quick, let's go see what, if any, honeycombs we actually have on hand. We have a few. Now the centrifuge does take power, so we will have to keep that in mind. And ta-da, centrifuge. Also grab our beealizer. And temporarily, we are just going to stick this down here. Right there. That'll work. It's got power. And it's a pretty simple interface. You drop in your comb, your honeycombs. It processes up, and you get resources, like honey drops. These are pretty much the most basic resource you can get, along with beeswax. We'll probably be getting some of here shortly. There we go. There's some beeswax. Beeswax is nice. It's used for a few different things. A nice thing that it can be used for is torches, which is useful. And these wax capsules, which act like the tin cans you can make in forestry, so you can pick up different liquids in them. So that is useful. Now the silky comb is actually probably the most useful of the, I guess, first tier bee products, because the silky comb, nope, wrong, yes, right, okay, in a centrifuge can give you this silky propolis, and this, when centrifuged again, has a chance of getting you propolis and silk wisps. Now these are nice because they can be used to make a few different things. Mainly this woven silk. And this stuff is used to make the apiarist armor. And this stuff will protect you from the negative effects of bees. Some bees actually do have negative effects and will damage you or hurt you or cause other nasty things to happen if you get too close. And the apiarist armor is your protection against that. It's also nice because it can allow you to make the upgraded backpacks from forestry, which have 45 slots instead of 15. So all good stuff, and as you can see, we've got some here. The user interface kind of bugs out occasionally. I don't know if that's specific to forestry and the centrifuge or not, but when it happens, just exiting and popping back in seems to fix things. And we've got some of our first bee products. Now the honey is useful. Again, it's used in a few different things, but our most important use for it right now is going to be powering the beealizer. You basically use drops of honey to, I guess, pacify the bees that you're trying to analyze. So if we run back over and dodge the arrow fire from the skeleton that is camping outside our smeltery, we should probably have let enough time pass for those bees to run their cycle, use up their lifespan. And when we get over there, we should see some princesses and some drones and probably maybe some bee products. some different kinds of honeycomb. I feel like I'm running slower than usual. I don't know what that's about. Maybe it's just me. So back over and up. You can see it looks like all the particle effects have stopped. And if we look, as you can see, we actually got an interesting thing here. What we have here is a mutation. So the main thing behind bees is that you can mutate them to create other types of bees by crossbreeding them. And when this happens, you have a chance of getting a different type of princess or a different type of drone. If you'll remember, in here we put a forest queen. And instead of getting just forest drones back and a forest princess, we actually got a cultivated princess and a common drone and one forest drone. Over here, we got a common princess and some forest drones, which I believe that was meadows. That one might... No, I'm pretty sure this one was the meadows, so that's interesting. Here we have a meadows princess, so... I don't know. I don't know what order I put them in. I'd have to go back and check the video, but... As you can see, we're already getting some crossbreeding going on. So all we have to do is take and combine the princess with a drone to get another queen, and we can start the whole process over again. But this one will actually be a good example of using the beealizer. So if we take our princess or our drone, we drop them in here, in the question mark, they get analyzed and drop down here, and switching them between these slots will show you different stats about the bee. And as you might have noticed, it did take up one honey drop. So we can see that the active genes in this bee are cultivated. It has a shorter lifespan, slowest production, fertility is 2 drones, average territory, and these are the effects that are active at the moment. But they all also have these secondary inactive genes. And these can come up in crossbreeding and things, so it's possible if I breed this with another type of bee that these might become active, and my next bee could come out as a forest again. So to try to minimize that, we're going to analyze these drones. So this is a forest common, and this is a common cultivated. So what this basically means is if I were to take this cultivated princess, which is actually cultivated / forest, and combine it with this common / cultivated, we have, if my memory of genetics is what it used to be, which was never very good, but we should have roughly a 50% chance of getting a cultivated princess or cultivated bees out of it, since 2 of these traits, when you combine them, will be cultivated, and then a 25% chance of forest, and a 25% chance of common. So what we're going to do is we're going to try this, and we're going to see what comes of it. Now, it will look like a cultivated queen here, and it still says cultivated forest hybrid. Now, what matters is the offspring we get. And if we do something similar here, see common meadows. So if we were to combine these, they both have common and they both have meadows. We should have a 50-50 chance of getting a common princess or common drones out of it, or the meadows. And finally, we can do this. This is a meadow forest hybrid. Common meadows. And this is a forest common. So what we could actually do is we kind of want to get our forest back, because we kind of want to keep one of each bee. So we're going to combine this meadows forest and this forest common in hopes of getting another forest queen, or forest princess, once this queen dies off. We can pick up some of this honeycomb, and that is, I guess, the basics of bees and bee breeding. It's a matter of combining all the various different breeds of bee and crossbreeding them with the other types to have a chance of getting mutations that will give you new breeds of bee. And it's somewhat, well, it's a lot of random chance, but by choosing the bees that you breed together carefully, you can kind of stack the odds in your favor. Although you're always going to be at the mercy of RNG here, so there's always an element of randomness. And we're basically just going to be doing that. We're going to let the bees go, and we're going to be, when they die off, we're going to be analyzing them and looking to see if we can get any new interesting mutations. And through that, you basically kind of progress down a bit of a path towards better and better bees that produce everything, pretty much everything you could imagine. So this is some of the combs that you can get from Extra Bees, which is an add-on to Forestry Bees. So you can see you can get Diamond Comb from a Diamond Princess, or Diamond Queen, that is. And this, when centrifuged, can get you Diamond Fragments, which can be turned into diamonds. So you can, quite literally, use bees to get diamonds if you happen to progress to that particular bee. Now, it takes a Diamond Queen. We can look here and NEI can tell us how to get to it. So to get to a diamond, we would need a Lapis Princess and some form of cultivated, or vice versa. The alternate should also work. So a cultivated princess and a Lapis drone should also give you the same chance, pretty much, of getting a Diamond Queen. So cultivated is common and something else, basically. One of the other tier 1 bees. And the Lapis bee is a bit farther down the chain. Resilient and Imperial. We can look at Imperial. Imperial takes Noble and Majestic. Majestic takes Noble and Cultivated, and so you can see that it's pretty long chain, especially to get to some of these really, really high-end bees. What is some examples of comb that are the higher end? I think this Infinity Comb is one of them, which takes Energetic and Silicon. If we just go down the path of Energetic, Diligent and Excited, Cultivated and Valiant. There's just tons and tons. But, I mean, you can get everything from Yellorium to Emeralds to Blaze Powder and Blaze Rods. So, tons of things you can do. But, for the moment, that is going to be all we do with bees. It is going to be all we do with bees in these main episodes as well. Anytime I sit down to do any decent amount of work with bees, I will try to record it in a side bee episode, so that those of you who aren't as interested can just skip it without missing out on the progress of the main episode, or the main line, I guess. And that should do it. I want to thank you all for stopping by to hang out with me again. It is always great to have you here. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, or even just want to chat, feel free to stop and drop a comment in the section below. As you can see, we got some of these crystal and pollen clusters and some snowballs from the frozen comb we were doing. So, snowballs. Cool. Something we can get from bees. There's lots of stuff. But I am going to call this the end of episode 16. Thanks again for stopping by. This has been SageEthereal, and this has been Feed the Beast Infinity Evolved Expert Mode. And I hope to have you all stop by again with me next time in the next episode. And I will see you all then. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great day.